Alright guys, I'm going to talk to you now about Assassin's Creed Rogue. I recently got it on the PC. I am not by any means cultured or schooled in Assassin's Creed because I've only played a few of them, and I've only played 1, 2, a bit of 3 and Brotherhood. And I have to say I went into this with a kind of skeptical mind because of the bad reviews Unity got on PC and basically the name that Ubisoft has branded for themselves in the latest months. So, my review on Rogue, I did enjoy it. However, I've been told and looked up online that a lot of people have said it is like a complete reskin of Black Flag. I can't vouch for that because I haven't played Black Flag, but the gameplay was fairly solid. It ran consistently at 60 FPS with everything maxed out at Ultra, completely maxed out with GTX 970. Yeah, played it with the keyboard for a bit and then went to the controller to try it out. Obviously, games like Assassin's Creed where you're using 3 buttons or more active at one time, it kind of would feel better on a controller because of the control scheme. Obviously you can remap the controls on the keyboard, but the default control scheme's a bit yeah to begin with. What did I think of the story? Well, as far as the story goes, it's a bit different from the other Assassin's Creed games because you play as an assassin who turns to be a Templar in the later part of the game. So the game is set in around when the 7 Years' War happens. This is closely linked to Assassin's Creed 3 as you're playing as Shay Patrick Cormac when Connor is still a child, and Connor would be the main protagonist of Assassin's Creed 3. So it's set in the mid 18th century during the 7 Years' War, where you're playing as Shay Patrick Cormac, who is a friend of Connor's family, and you work for Connor's father when he's still a child. I thought the exploration in Rogue was very good. There's a lot to see, there's a fairly big map, a lot to explore, a lot to scavenge, a load of side quests, which I really liked. I really enjoyed the ship element of the game where you got to sail the 7 seas. I've heard obviously this is all similar in Black Flag, but you know, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a good addition to the game. Some of the new gameplay elements to Rogue, for example, there are certain missions in the game where you have to prevent assassinations from taking place. I really enjoyed that. I find Rogue did kind of stray away from the other Assassin's Creed games where you just go and pick off targets, you know, at will, and just consistently do that and do a lack of side missions in between the main story missions. This definitely had a good feel to it, and to me it felt fresh. I didn't think it felt like, you know, every other Assassin's Creed game, but then again, like I said, I haven't played some of the other ones. I definitely would be interested in going back and playing them at some point. I know a lot of people have complained and said that a lot of the earlier Assassin's Creed games are very badly optimized on PC, but I'd be willing to give them a shot, mainly because I like the idea of alternative history, and I always have done. I always like the idea of the Animus, but the thing is there a line, you know, with the likes of Ubisoft bringing out an Assassin's Creed game every year? You know, has it been done? Is it too dull? Is it one of them franchises that is becoming exactly like Call of Duty? A lot of people have said it is, you know, but like I said, there's a lot of the games that I haven't played that I would definitely like to get onto. Black Flag definitely probably will be hit up because of, you know, the whole pirate thing, you know. I don't know if it was me being Irish and liking pirates. You know, I kind of felt that Shay was a good character, and I kind of felt pulled towards him, and I felt he was believable at times, but you know, like I said, I don't know if that's a fallacy that I'm creating in my own head. I definitely think that at certain points in the game, you know, when I was scavenging ships and selling off their loots and taking them down, I kind of felt almost like I was playing Sid Meier's Pirates rather than an Assassin's Creed game, which I thought was pretty cool. Some of the mechanics on the ship where you can like run up to the like lift thing on the ship and go up onto the top mast, I thought that was a real cool implementation, because you can kind of like dive off it into the water by the enemy ship. Same as Black Flag, you could go to the ship vendor and upgrade, you know, the ship as need be. And the climbing and the parkour of the game felt fairly smooth to me after I got the controller up and running. I decided to go with the controller because, you know, like I said, with Assassin's Creed games, you know, you're going to have active like 3 or more buttons at one time, you know, like the right trigger for high profile, A for running, you know, and jumping, and then, you know, obviously one analog stick for movement and another analog stick for camera, so that would be 4 buttons going active at once. And the same as with like the keyboard and stuff, I just found my left hand couldn't stretch nearly half as well, and then when I tried fucking around with some custom key bindings, it kind of started to hurt my hand a bit. So I think games like, you know, Assassin's Creed, Batman, like Batman Arkham Origins or Arkham City, you know, I find them games suit a controller. You know, like I said in my previous videos, you know, I played Shadow of Mordor with keyboard and mouse and it felt fine, but probably because it was designed at some point to be made on PC, because the control schematic is nice and it feels well. So what did I think of Assassin's Creed Rogue? I think gameplay was solid. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the pros, it felt fresh to me. It had the pirate theme. It had different new bits of gameplay which spiced it up to make it feel fresh. Cons, for anyone playing on PC, it's capped at 60 frames per second, so if you are someone with, you know, a 120 or 144 hertz monitor, you know, you're not going to be able to get the utilization of your hardware there. I don't know if the game supports SLI or if there's a good SLI profile out there for it. I don't know. I'm only running off the one GPU. It looked nice. I liked the side missions and I liked the new implementations from what I had last played, which would have been Assassin's Creed 3. I would have to say it's definitely worth playing. I wouldn't say it's worth full AAA title price at the minute, you know, at launch, because I wouldn't pay the money for it anyway. I managed to pick it up pretty cheap on G2A.com. If you fancy checking it out or whatever, or playing it and giving it a go, you can check the reference link down in the description to pick it up on G2A.com. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. You can follow me on social media at For the Banter NI on Twitter and For the Banter NI on Facebook. Until next time, my friends, goodbye.